You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports San Francisco on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer for the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR, and oh my God, the Giants did it again. They score 6 runs in the 9th and 10th innings to give them a 7-2 win over the New York Mets and to give them their 4th consecutive comeback win on this road trip. They're over 500 for the first time since March. Jordan Hicks dazzled again, and the entire offense is showing up at the dish. Everything is going great in Giants land, except Marco Luciano is officially a liability in the field, and the Giants need to do something about that. We'll break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching us on the Locked On Sports San Francisco YouTube channel. Please hit that subscribe button if you aren't already subscribed. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're getting the show, we appreciate you tuning in, and make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaswick does a great job breaking down all the news and numbers you need to know. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Wow, oh, wow, oh, wow. The Giants are, I said a couple days ago, these comeback wins where the Giants score like 6, 7, 8 runs a game are just not sustainable. Well, it looks like they're going to just sustain this for this entire road trip, man. I mean, they're back over 500 for the first time since March. They're 27 and 26 now on the season. They've had 4 consecutive comeback wins. This has just been a dream of a road trip for the Giants. I mean, this team was dead in the water, man, with so many injuries, just sputtering, circling the drain just a couple weeks ago. Now they're reinvigorated, have so much life back in this team. They're only 6 games back from the Dodgers with this win and own second place in the National League West after the win, in good position for the wild card as well. We are still months and months and months away from any of that really mattering, but you want to stay in contention, and that's just what the Giants are doing right now. They've won 8 of their last 9 games, and they now have 12 comeback wins in total on the season, with 4 of them just in these last 4 games. Completely insane. Completely insane. Not at all how you can plan to win a baseball game. I don't think anyone plans to go down and then score all your runs in the 8th, 9th, 10th innings. That is not the blueprint for winning a ton of baseball games. With the Giants, they don't care, man. They're just going to keep going out here and coming back and winning games in comeback fashion. And wow. I'm floored by the resiliency of this team, by the never say die attitude. It's like they got all these young guys that just don't know how to get down on themselves. They don't know. All they're trying to do is just have competitive at bats, keep their spot on the big league roster by performing. But all this is translating to guys having competitive at bats. Doesn't matter how far the Giants have fallen down or fallen behind in a game, they're still trying. And that is something we didn't really see from the team at the beginning of this year. Night and day difference, man. Night and day difference. What we're seeing now versus what we saw from this team at the beginning of the season, or even a couple weeks ago when again they had all those injuries. Felt like the Jung-Hoo Lee shoulder injury was just the end of everything in San Francisco. It felt like we just pack it in, better luck next year, and then all the young kids come up and make a statement. But one guy who's been doing it all season long is Jordan Hicks, who got the start for the Giants in this one today, and he was on. He had 8 strikeouts, 5 innings of 1-run ball. He had 87 pitches on the day, and he looked like he was cruising pretty comfortably after Lindor led off this game with a leadoff double, got to third base in that inning, and it seemed like the Giants were going to have to dig themselves out of another early deficit. Instead, Hicks gets out of the jam, But in the bottom of the second, a Marte solo blast gives the Mets a 1-0 lead, came on an 0-2 sweeper that didn't really sweep. It stayed up in the zone over the middle of the plate, just a meatball, man, just an absolute meatball. And Hicks was clearly upset with himself, yelling at himself on the mound afterwards. One of the worst pitches he's thrown all season long, honestly. Mets took a 1-0 lead, and that was pretty much the only mistake that Hicks made. From then on out, he settled down, didn't really give up much in this one. He only gave up 2 total hits. Actually, after that, he didn't give up any hits until he was out of this game, because the Lindor leadoff double and then that Marte home run. After that, that's all he gave up. 87 pitches, 5 innings, as I said, 1 run on that solo home run, only gave up 2 walks and 8 Ks. He generated 19 swings and misses today. There were a total of 40 swings on his pitches. That's nearly a 50% whiff rate, which is insane for a starter. 47.5% whiff rate is crazy talk for a guy who's pitching more than 1 inning at a time. It's more than double his whiff rate this season, which is 22.4%. His ERA down to 2.33 on the year now. He only got the outs though with 3 ground outs today, but he had the swing and miss stuff going. So the splitter, instead of getting ground outs with it, he just was getting strikeouts instead, which I'll take it, man. I'll take a strikeout any day, just like I'll take a ground out any day from Mr. Hicks on the bump. And the bullpen really did hold it down for the most part. The only mistake, a Sean Jelly gave up a home run to Beatty as he smashed a hanging curveball that was left down and in over the right field fence, gave the Mets a 2-1 lead. Another game where the Mets have multiple home runs, but because the Giants kept them from getting runners on base ahead of these hitters, they're limiting damage. These 2 home runs only generate 2 runs in total for the Mets. It's also the 4th home run Sean Jelly has given up this season, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider he's only given up 19 hits in total, and that 21% of hits off of him are going over the fence, that kind of concerns me a little bit. Sean Jelly has been very good this season. He's been a guy that the Giants have leaned on a lot out of the pen. He just looks a little shaky lately. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe it's just the usage finally catching up to him, but he looked shaky again today. He did get that final out of the 6th inning to get out of a jam after he inherited some base runners. But in the bottom of the 7th, he gives up that bomb. Randy Rodriguez comes in after, I think he walked a guy after that too. Randy Rodriguez comes in right afterwards, and I love seeing this guy in high leverage situations at this point. He's shown that he deserves some love in these moments. And today he pitched great again. I mean, he struck out a couple guys. He didn't give up a run. He struck out Lindor. Lindor was taking all the way on that strikeout, by the way. That was really weird. He was a 3-2 count, one of the best hitters on your team, and he just is taking on that pitch. That made no sense to me, but whatever. Randy Rodriguez will take that K, and that's fine. I'll do that anytime that the offense wants to give him a free strikeout, he'll take it. He was kind of getting hosed on calls low in the zone in this one too. In the bottom of the 8th, he was absolutely painting the lower part of the strike zone, getting no love. Ultimately, 1 2/3 shutout innings after he came in to face the top of the order with a runner on base, 2 strikeouts, only 1 walk, no hits, and his fastball is absolutely electric. This guy is so good. I want to see him in more high leverage situations. Even just the way the Giants have used him recently is different than when they first brought him up. He was pretty much exclusively a long relief guy when they first brought him up, and now he's pitching in a 2-1 game with coming in to face the top of the order with a runner on base. This guy is being used in more and more high leverage situations, and he just keeps delivering. He's just delivering every time that he's in one of these situations. I look forward to seeing more of this from Randy Rodriguez. In the 6th inning, a little bit before that one, the Giants got a run back. Wisely had a base hit. Matos drew a walk, and Estrada hit into a fielder's choice that moved Wisely to 3rd. And with the runners at the corner, Bailey almost hits another bomb. It just goes barely foul. Could have been a 3-run home run. Instead, Patty Barrels picks up a 2-out base knock to drive in Brett Wisely, give the Giants a run in the game, their first run of the game, tied it up at 1-1 in the 6th inning. Then later on in this one, the Mets jump back out in front after they scored to go ahead 2-1 with that home run, that second home run from Brett Beatty. So the Giants trailing by a run heading into the 9th inning, a leadoff base hit by Wilmer. Yaz watches strike 3, and things start to look a little grim for the Giants, but McKenna comes in to pinch run for Wilmer, steals second base. That was a big steal. The Giants have lacked speed on the base paths all year, have not been able to really manufacture runs. And for a team that was struggling at the plate for a long time this season, it's concerning that they also can't steal. So you need to be able to figure out how to score runs some way in this game. And stealing is one of the ways that if your offense has been struggling, you can generate some runs with that. So McKenna steals second, and late night Lamont / I guess late afternoon Lamont comes in and drives a base hit to right field. He hadn't been playing all game long, came in as a pinch hitter and delivers. It ties it up in the top of the ninth inning. He tried to stretch it into a double, but got thrown out at second base by Marte, who's got a great arm out there and right. Giants don't do any more damage in that inning. So we go to the bottom of the ninth with the score tied, and in comes Luke Jackson, who, man, I don't want to see at all in these high leverage situations. I don't think you guys do either. This was an adventure of a ninth inning. Wisely moved over to first. Luciano came in to play short. McKenna stayed in left field. Ramos comes out. Flores comes out. And Luke Jackson routinely falls behind guys in counts. Just immediate 0-2 or 2-0 count in the batter's favor every single time this guy had an opportunity to face someone today. And it seems like this has been how it's been going for Luke Jackson. He's got great stuff, but he has been really bad lately, man. ERA over 5. And the defense didn't help him out at all in this one. So we got to get into it. Luciano, we're going to spend a lot of time talking about Luciano on this postcast today. I'm going to tell you right now, he had another error today. This is the 4th consecutive game with an error in the 9th inning. And I understand some people are going to say this one's on Tyro. And let me be clear, Tyro, for sure, the right play in that situation is for Tyro to wave off Luciano, step on second base, and try and get the out at first as you had a slow runner on his way down the line out of the batter's box. He had a chance to do it if he just took it himself. However, that feed to Luciano, yeah, it came in a little hot. Yeah, it's not right at his chest. This is a major league shortstop. This dude should make this play 10 times out of 10, and instead it just goes right by him. Again, another fielding blunder by this guy. And let me tell you, if this Giants offense hadn't been producing the way that it has been late in games in these last 3-4 games, Luciano, we're having a very different conversation about this guy. He would have cost the Giants 4 wins, and we would have pretty squarely put it on him, although no one player wins or loses a game in baseball. We know this, but you cannot be making errors at shortstop, the most important defensive position in the field that is not catcher. And you can't have a guy who is a very mid defender playing short. You just can't do that, especially when you have a pitching staff with Logan Webb, Keaton Wynn, Jordan Hicks, guys who are all in the top 10 percentile in Major League Baseball for ground ball outs. You cannot leave this guy in at shortstop late in games anymore. He is a liability, straight up liability at shortstop in the field. This guy's bat, you can't question it. Offensively, Luciano is Major League ready, and that, I mean, more than that, he's ready to produce, Major League ready to produce right now as a hitter. This guy is terrible in the field, a terrible shortstop, not just bad, but terrible. And I did some numbers and some research. We'll dive into that more a little bit later on, but my God, he almost blew it again for the Giants in this one. Thankfully, they end up getting out of it. The Giants are able to get out of that inning. Jackson got a fly ball that wasn't squared up very well to get out of it. But man, that was a lot tougher than it needed to be. And self-inflicted wounds by errors in the field. Not good at all. In the 10th inning, we'll get back to all the positives now. The Giants drive in 5 runs in the 10th inning. Starts with a Wisely single that drove in the Manfred man on second base, which I still despise. Kurt Casale. Giants take a 3-2 lead. And then a Mato single, a Tyro weird play where he got on board with a fielder's choice after Pete Alonso made a really bad throw to second. Just looked like everybody was out of position on that play. Lindor wasn't quite on the bag. Alonso kind of like delayed the throw to try and get Lindor to have time to get over there, and then he kind of lofted it over there, didn't throw it as hard as Lindor I think expected it to come in. Lindor has his timing all thrown off, drops the ball, everybody is safe, bases loaded, nobody out, and then Pat Bailey comes up, works an 8-pitch at bat, draws a walk, which scores a run. Then after a strikeout by McKenna, Mike Yastrzemski bangs a triple off the wall. And now we have 2 games in a row where Mike Yastrzemski is coming up with big hits late in games. That's got to make you feel good. Clears the bases. Giants take a 7-2 lead on those 5 runs in that inning. In the 10th, Camilo comes in, shuts it down 1-2-3 with 2 strikeouts, including a 102-mile-an-hour cutter that was just dirty and to strike out Nimmo for the first out of the inning. And it's great to see Camilo Doval have an easy outing for once. Not a save opportunity as the Giants were up by 5 runs. So he didn't earn a save in this one. We can't move our Camilo Doval bobblehead saves counter right now because, not a save. But great outing. Gets Camilo some confidence going forward. Love this Giants energy. Love the way this team just doesn't die, man. The confidence that this must be permeating through this team. It doesn't feel like any lead is safe now when the Giants are down. Like they can come back against anybody. It doesn't matter who it is, who's on the hill. It doesn't matter what the score is. Like the Giants are in games right now. The way that this offense is hitting, man, oh man. And I need to give a shout out to Brett Wisely, dude. Had 3 hits in this one, scored 2 massive runs for the Giants. Also drove a run in. 3 for 4 day. His batting average up to 385 in the very small sample size this season. I like Brett Wisely. He can play a ton of different positions. See that stretch that he made at first base? They didn't, on the back end of that double play that they almost turned in extra or in the 9th inning. They didn't quite turn the double play, but little Brett Wisely over there at first trying his best to stretch as far as he can to get that out, man. I like guys that are just willing to do whatever to help the team win, and that seems to be exactly what Brett Wisely does. I don't usually see guys go from shortstop to first base in the same game. That's a pretty interesting defensive switch there by Bob Melvin. And we got to talk about it, man, because Luciano at short is not the answer. We'll break it down on the other side. A lot to get into with Marco Luciano, man. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. Spring is here, so it's out with the old and in with the new, but don't splurge on anything without getting cash back in return when you use Ibotta. Ibotta is a free app that gives you the most cash back every time you shop on hundreds of items, from grocery stores to beauty supplies to toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or that fancy dinner that you've been craving. I know I crave a lot of fancy dinners. I'm a guy. One thing about me, I'm a guy who loves some fancy dinners. Other apps only give you points that don't amount to much, but with Ibotta, just add your offers in the app, upload your receipt, and you get real cash that you can cash out to your bank account, PayPal, or gift cards. Join the over 50 million users and earn cash back every time you shop from over 2,700 brands and retailers, including all your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and so many more. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 for free just for trying Ibotta out by using code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Today's show is also sponsored by Supply House. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Love that. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining supplyhouse.com's free Trade Master program. Every Trade Master gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/T-M and order plumbing, HVAC, electrical supplies, whatever you need from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We got to get into it, man. I'm happy about this Giants win. Don't get me wrong. 7-2 win, another comeback win. Giants over 500 for the first time basically this season since March. And things are rolling. Things are great in Giants land right now. but this could be very different. If this offense hadn't had bailed Luciano out multiple times, I mean, time and time and time again on this road trip, we would be having a much different conversation. And Beto, my guy, I feel like we've been in lockstep these last couple shows, but we cannot have errors on routine plays at shortstop in the 9th inning of a Major League Baseball game. This is not like your softball league or your little league team. Like, you cannot have a guy playing shortstop who is not the best defender on ground balls and knows how to make every single routine play at the position in the major leagues. You absolutely cannot do that. I got a lot of stuff I want to throw out at you guys, so buckle up because we're going to get into it. Wisely did start at shortstop today over Luciano. However, Luciano now has 5 errors on the season, but coming into today, when I did all my numbers and all my research prior, because I didn't think we were going to see Luciano at short, so I didn't add all his extra opportunities and things, yada yada. Anyways, we're just going to look at what he did prior to this game, and just know he also made a costly error in this game that could have sunk the Giants and cost them a win without even. That's not even included in these stats. So just keep that in the back of your brain. Luciano's got 4 errors on 35 chances in 7 games prior to this game. That's a fielding percentage of just barely over 88%. It's 886 fielding percentage. Giants are dead last right now in shortstop fielding percentage. And do you know why? Because they've basically doubled their errors at the position in the last 7 games. Marco Luciano has more errors or just as many errors at shortstop. I think he's got more now than Nick Ahmed has all season long. Nick Ahmed's played in 36 games. Marco Luciano has played in 8. And he's got more than half of the Giants' errors at the position. They are dead last in shortstop fielding percentage. Luciano has accounted for more than half of them in 13% of the Giants' total games played. He's only played in 13% of the Giants games and accounted for more than half of the errors at the position. Today almost cost him again. The Giants are 16-10 when they don't commit an error this season. So if you're going to tell me errors don't matter and that offense is more important, look at that number, 16-10 when they don't commit an error in the field. Errors and walks and 390s matter in Major League Baseball. This isn't Little League where you're just going to get the run back in the other half inning. It doesn't work that way in professional baseball. This isn't the NBA or the NFL either. Defense still matters. Defense wins championships in baseball. I mean, we hear that phrase all the time. Defense wins championships. Defense wins championships. Okay, well then why didn't the 49ers beat the Chiefs? Still mad about that. Anyways, you look at the NBA, people scored 140 points a night. Defense doesn't win championships in those sports anymore. However, in baseball, since 2014, we'll go all the way back to the last time the Giants won a World Series. There have been 2 teams outside of the top 8 in defensive rating. Two. One of them was the Atlanta Braves in 2021, but they had superstars all over the place. I mean, Freddie Freeman, Ozuna, Dansby Swanson, they had so many guys. Freddie Freeman, I think, had like 5 bombs in that one postseason. The Giants don't have guys like that on their roster. They just don't. You don't have a Freddie Freeman in this lineup who can just put the team on his back and say, I don't really care if we gave up a run in that inning. I'm going to go get it back with one swing of the bat right now. The other one was the 2014 Giants. And you guys know what won that World Series for the Giants. Madison Bumgarner. Is there a Madison Bumgarner on this team? A guy who's going to just go out and win you like 3 games in a World Series on his own? No. I love Logan Webb. I love Jordan Hicks. They are not Madison Bumgarner. You need a defense. I can't. I'm baffled by the amount of people that have like complained about my take on this over the last couple of days. Luciano is going to cost you games. You're not going to continue to score 5-6+ runs in the 9th inning or later every single night. You need a guy who can make those plays at shortstop, and Luciano straight up cannot do it. He is a liability in the field. His glove has holes in it. I swear to God, this guy just cannot field a ball cleanly. Meanwhile, Nick Ahmed leads all MLB shortstops in fielding percentage. Let me say that again. Leads all MLB shortstops in fielding percentage with a 981 fielding percentage, just 3 errors all season in 36 games played. Nick Ahmed, 4 outs above average at short, the 7th best in the bigs, while Luciano is -2 outs above average, which is ranked 66th of all shortstops who have played a game this season. He is the worst fielding shortstop if he was an everyday player. The worst one currently is O'Neal Cruz, who's sitting at a 936 fielding percentage. That's substantially better than Luciano's 886 percentage. Plus, O'Neal Cruz is like a 6'5" monster and a proven hitter in the bigs. Luciano is getting there, but after 7-8 game sample size, you cannot tell me that he is as good of a hitter as O'Neal Cruz. This doesn't make sense. Like, use your brain, please, not your emotions, your brain, when you think about this and you talk about what the Giants need to do to win games. You can't disregard defense, especially at shortstop. I feel insane trying to explain this to people, but my God, did you forget that Luciano almost lost 3 games in Pittsburgh just because of errors at shortstop? You cannot have this guy out there late in games. You just can't. Period. End of story. Cannot have this guy late in games. Plus, one more point. People want to make Nick Ahmed out to be like this terrible hitter. He's not. He's batting 236, which isn't lighting the world on fire, but it's not unplayable. Tyro batting 242 coming into today. Soler 215. Yaz 223. Wilmer 213. And he's batting better than almost all of them except for Tyro. Yes, he doesn't have the power numbers. Of course he doesn't. He's a shortstop. You don't need your shortstop to be hitting bombs. You have plenty of other guys on this Giants team that can hit. What you need is a guy who can make plays at shortstop and not give up free runs. Again, the Giants have 3 pitchers who are all in the top 10 percentage-wise of MLB starters in ground ball rate. And you're saying that you want a guy at shortstop who doesn't know how to field a ground ball. My God, man. My God. I can't believe that we even have to explain this. I got to take a quick break here. We got to get out of this this topic. It's important, but man, it's so frustrating watching this guy make these errors over and over and over and over again at shortstop. Thank God the Giants offense bailed him out. Thank God Mike Yastrzemski smashed that triple off the wall. 7-2 win. You score 5 runs in extra innings. You score a run in the ninth to tie it up. This isn't going to happen every day. You need to win the game before the 9th inning. You can't do this every single day. The Giants aren't gonna finish the season with 100 wins and have 80 of them as comeback wins. That just can't happen. They're gonna regress to the mean eventually. They're not gonna score 7-8 runs a game. That's unrealistic. Please, again, use your brain, not your emotion, when you're thinking about this topic. We got to take a quick break. On the other side, we got to break down Jordan Hicks and why a splitter is one of the most dominant pitches in all of baseball. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll be right back. It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. And before we get on out of here, I just want to talk about Jordan Hicks' splitter, man. This guy, he's been dominant all season with basically every pitch, but the splitter specifically is so effective for Hicks. It is one of the best pitches in baseball. He throws it 23% of the time. It's the second most used pitch. Number 1 is the 2-seam, and he uses the 2-seamer to set up the split. They look very similar coming out of the hand, but one just dies off the table, just completely nosedive. And the other one is, arm side run, lateral movement. So it's very tough when you're trying to just guess in the batter's box whether that pitch is sinking or coming in on the hands if you're a righty, or I guess trailing away from you if you're a lefty. His batting average for the splitter is .089. That's insane, man. Like, guys hitting below 100 against this splitter in 38.8% of the time. Guys are swinging and missing on the pitch the most of any pitch that he has. And the reason is the deception, because it looks so similar to coming out of the hand of the 2-seam. He's got a 39.7 inches of drop on the splitter, 39.7 inches of drop on that splitter. It's substantially more drop than other splitters in Major League Baseball, specifically 4.7 inches more than the average splitter. So that's a massive difference, absolutely massive difference. Moves more than almost anyone else's splitter in baseball. Meanwhile, the 2-seamer also has some drop, 24.2 inches of drop, 2.7 more inches than the league average. but it also has 16.2 inches of arm side run, 1.1 more than the league average. So this is a devastating two-pitch combo. And then you have that sweeper that breaks the opposite way of the two-seamer. And it's a lethal combo. You see why he had those 8 Ks tonight. 4 of them came on that splitter, 2 of them from the two-seam. And I mean, this guy has just been so good on the hill this season for the Giants. His ERA down to 2.3 something. I mean, 2.33. I think this guy is doing work on the hill. Yeah, 2.33, only 2 walks. You only give up 2 hits in this one, 4 total base runners. This is a find by Farhan. If we want to rip Farhan for missing on all these other guys, we got to give him some credit where credit is due. And Jordan Hicks, man, oh man, this guy's going to be a Giant for a couple years to come in the future. And it looks like they have found, I mean, this guy's a 2.33 ERA. This guy's pitching like an ace. And ahead of him in the pitching order, you have Blake Snell, Logan Webb, and Kyle Harrison. So he doesn't even need to pitch at this level to be effective for the Giants. And it also kind of lessens the blow of what Blake Snell's not been able to do for the Giants, not living up to expectations. Jordan Hicks has made up for that entirely. Maybe not entirely, but he has done his job to make up for that as much as he can. And if we're gonna dunk on Farhan for these, bad, quote, bad free agent signings, which I think it's kind of silly to call a free agent signing a bad one when we're not even a third of the way through the season and not even like part of the way through their contract. And we got to look at the whole contract and assess afterwards. But I don't think it's bad. I don't think that his bad signings outweigh his good signings at this point. I really don't. His lack of signings, maybe, missing out on all those big names and the Arson Judge deal, all that kind of stuff, that's valid. But if you're going to just sit here and say Farhan can't find free agents that contribute, you just got your head in the sand, man. Look what Jordan Hicks did today. Look at that guy out there on the mound and tell me Farhan still can't find free agents to bring in. Use your brain again, please. I'm begging you guys, use your brains when you think about these things, not your emotions, not just thinking from the heart, but think with this. That's all the time we got for you guys today on the Locked On Giants postcast. A 7-2 win over the Mets. This team is rolling, man. They've won 8 of their last 9, 4 comeback wins in a row, over 500 for the first time since March. If only Marco Luciano can play some damn defense. I feel like I was way more frustrated today than I really needed to be over that. But God, dude, it's bothering me. This guy's got to play defense at a major league level, and this is a problem that the Giants are going to be saddled with for years to come if they don't figure it out now. Figure out where he can play every day, because it's not shortstop. It's greater than this one win. It's greater than that. It's much bigger than that. This is a guy who's supposed to be a cornerstone player of your franchise. You need him to start acting like it in the field. He is at the plate. No complaints there. Nothing bad about Luciano at the dish. It's night and day difference between him at the plate and in the field, though. Giants got to figure it out. You can't have him there in the 9th inning anymore. It's about all the time that we got for you guys today. The Giants, they've already won their series against the Mets in New York, but they're going to go for the sweep tomorrow. And how nice would that be? 2 series sweeps in 1 week. Oh my God, who is this team? That's all the time we got for you guys today on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We'll see you next time as we come to you live tomorrow after Giants Mets. See you then. Peace.